Are you fucking serious? Mute the guy. Well, this is going smoothly already. The moment I fucking hit start stream, I'm bored. People should know. Kids in general, just people in general should know. If you come to me telling me that you're bored, I'm going to give you something to do. Because I am an experienced fucking parent. You're going to sit there and explain to me that's not what she meant by needing something, wanting something to do. No. Get on your hands and knees and scrub something for all I care. You'll have something to do. That's how my mama used to give me something to do. If I wanted something, she'd make me earn it until I forgot what it was. I don't know how she kept getting away with that shit, but it seems how it played out, because I didn't get much of nothing. Unless somebody was giving it away. Anyways, how you doing, Mr. Conway? Thanks for stopping by. So, today is the day, Martin Luther King Day, that we commemorate the life and stolen potential. Let's not forget that. I like to think of that on Martin Luther King Day. I think, to me, I mean, just for me personally, that's the most important thing to remember, is the stolen potential. And I'm not just saying that Martin Luther King very easily could have been our first black president. But what I'm talking about is, you know, that line of logic that is the real reason why Bill Cosby had all of his accusers? Something tells me that Martin Luther King's continued life would have precluded the existence of sagging. Bill Cosby would have never had to tell anybody to pull their damn pants up. You see, what made Martin Luther King dangerous is the same thing that made Bill Clinton dangerous to them. He was what Bush kept saying he was. He was a uniter. I'm a uniter, not a divider. We're working, and it's hard work. We're working hard. Uniting people with leadership. Just, I mean, like he was convincing himself. He sure didn't convince me. But anyways. So, Martin Luther King got Jesus. You know? And I'm not meaning like he had Jesus. Like he didn't like seize him. Carpe Jesus, no. Like the way you get a song when you feel it. The way you get a comedian. The way, like, you know, the teacher's favorite student gets him. Common perspective, common vibe, common morals. Martin Luther King got Jesus. You know, he got it. The boy gets it. Ability to speak sense and to speak truth more clearly than the people beating them chest and saying, "We're the Christians." That is what unites people. That is what gives the Partheists, Patheists, the atheists, Patheists, no argument, no cause, no creed. What are you going to do? Argue against the very philosophy that basically gave them every semblance of civilization they hold dear? You're going to argue against the golden rule? Judge not, lest ye be judged yourselves. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. In the time of Cam Veritus, and that is this time again, where truth itself, for some reason, needs to be debated, because there's so many different people coordinating and spreading lies. Dingo, stop licking your balls. The ability to separate fact and pure logic from pointed fingers and accusations and hyperbolic emotional triggers. That is the power of truth. The power that keeps men free. The power that makes democracy possible. Judge not lest ye be judged. If you don't know the truth, if you didn't see something for yourself, you don't know the truth. Not in a way that allows you to decide something for somebody else. How would you like it if somebody decided your fate and they didn't see for themselves what had really happened? Judge not lest ye be judged yourselves. Should you be afraid of the migrant caravans? Should you be afraid of the blacks? Should you be afraid of the Jews? Should you judge them and say that you're better than them? Well, how'd it go for the Nazis? Judge not. Seize. Lest ye be judged yourselves. Hitler did not see that coming. I'm sorry, I love that joke. Hitler did not see how strong the Russians were either. What? I need a legitimate phone stand. Here. Ah. And by legitimate phone stand, I mean a pack of cigarettes, not my foot. I just sat the phone on my foot for no reason. Wait, speaking of feet, is there a hole in the middle? I don't know, it's kind of dirty. Is there a hole? Wait, which foot is this? What's the right foot? It's not in the middle. It's right there. Details, details. So, you know what's interesting about the whole Mary of Magdalene being a Persian princess? First of all, you know, just that sentence itself doesn't make a whole lot of sense on the surface. But then, layer that on top of my memories of her basically looking Japanese. And then you have several things that make you go, Did anybody else, when they were really young and saw Aladdin for the first time, the cartoon, you know, the Disney cartoon, did they think Princess Jasmine was like Asian? Not like Lebanese, like Asian. There certainly is something about the Japanese people that still to this day remains incredibly honorable. Now, I don't know if you catch any of this on YouTube or have observed this from relatives or friends that have traveled there, but like if you drop something, your wallet, a bag, something in Japan, people will like set it somewhere easy for you to find. Leave your lights off. Somebody will open your car door for you. Turn your lights off. And may or may not even leave a note just to tell you. And they might even fold it up in a little origami crane. Just to tell you, you left your lights on. Because why? Because being nice. Because honor. Because do unto others as you would have them do unto you. That's why, like, this is gonna sound like probably one of the weirder things I'll ever say, which is saying something. You know, they say the world's leading to like a melting pot of monotonous racial genomenclature. I just made up an awesome word. Genomenclature. I'm sorry, I just broke my fucking brain with that one. Well, I'm just saying that if I had to pick one look, one culture for all of humanity, it would be the moral, honorable side, not the Yakuza, you know, Manchurian side, the good side of Japanese culture. If everybody looked Asian, it'd be fine with me. Not going to go into another subject, but that wouldn't be fine with me. But anyway. Let's not be cliche and lewd at the same time. Just yet. Anyways. So, the thing is, Persian, right, sounds a lot like Asian. Yeah, at the end, the whole last half of the word. But you see, the Persians weren't called Persian per se. Until the Parthians came. Then you had a new Persian calling themselves Persian when there had already been a Persian there that the Parthians had pardoned from the Asians. The Parthians parted the Asians from the Persians. They called themselves Persians. But when I speak of Persia, I speak of old Persia before the Parthians came. Sia means further or longer. Huh. In Gaelic. Well, I'm thinking more of the common Latin root of Thea. But Thea and Sia are in many ways, in many cultural overlaps, interchangeable. You have Parthia, Parsia, Persia, Parthia. I wonder where the name Perth came from for Australia. Interesting name, isn't it? Perth. It's a good woody word, though. Perth. Perth. Gone. I've gone to Perth. Anyways. If I had to remember what we actually called these people, that's a weird way of phrasing that. Let me just speak more plainly and not let a sentence roll out as it forms. Earlier, I just kind of sat myself accidentally in a time frame where I could hear myself and many people and the common knowledge base referring to these people. And they were very technological Greek imperialists, great architects, I mean, phenomenal tradesmen, a behemoth of ancient times. I mean, just an absolute, like the perspective when I started realizing these are the Parthenons. Partheon. It's not Parthia, it's Partheon. Theon. You can put an A with a schwa over it or what the fuck you want, but this is history buried at a point. And it just unlocks an avalanche. One of the first people in my entire memory of this realm's existence that had uniforms. When I say behemoth, I mean organizational. Behemoth. I wonder what was happening in this memory that I'm having. There's some old merchant man with a beard. He's got a gray robe that is meant to sort of match and subordinate the guardsmen and workers with him. Their uniforms match each other's, but also have sort of a common theme to them with each other's and his. Gray. And a shiny black, charcoalish gray. Is that leather or satin? integrated chainmail armor with sort of metal borders, coping. The merchant workers had no armor. They had hoods. Their uniform was sort of a suit-like fitting jacket with a hood, gray with defined ribbing that went all the way down the back of the jacket and tied at the waist. They looked very skinny. The guardsmen were very well fed. At the peak of how big you can get without doing steroids, I think. But adrenochrome and Sappho would certainly explain and fit the sort of kind of meth head amped up vibe. So he was there to try to negotiate some sort of a trade deal, I think, just from the aura of things. I'm not remembering any other than, like, the Parthians are here. The Parthian representative wishes to speak with you. It's the hallway outside of my office. What office? I have no idea. Stone building. Arced pinnacle doorways. Some of them with a beam across the top, some of them just open. You know, actually to fit a door under that, you'd actually have to put a wooden door frame in it. Yeah. Stained glass above the beams and the little arcs. Looked like maybe an old Central European church, castle, something. Could have been in fucking Palestine for all I know. Yeah. Could have been Samarkand. That's something I've had on the back burner for a while. It'd be nice if that bubbled up. Shaka, when the walls fell. Zanarkand. Samarkand. That is a chilling parallel. And I think that is probably, you know, maybe not the memory I'm thinking of. Maybe it is. Because what am I trying to figure out? The connection between Persia and Magdalene? So the simple question that solves the riddle, the wisdom to be had that unveils the mystery, is, were there any holdouts? Samarkand. The last castle of the high priestesses, excuse me. I was fascinated by my pronunciation of the T, castle. And then the rest of that sentence just kind of fell apart. Priestesses. Some priestesses that need some assistance. Yes. They need help from basketball players. What? Anyway. When you see the lines on the maps move when they're teaching history, that's all you see, isn't it? You know what you should see? Maidan. Berlin. Korea. Martin Luther King. Because these things all happened after those lines moved. These things all happened whether or not those lines shifted at all. Well, we have a third like. Might be just, I don't know, James having computer difficulties or something. And then Max could be watching without us even knowing, because they don't even register. Yeah. Anyways. So if you want to know whether or not the Horde had advanced, to the borders of Europe, but still had Persian or Asian holdouts, hi, James. Thank you. Thank you. That's not the most impressive thing I've done today, though. Earlier, I crushed part of the universe. It's just a little part. It was I could do it with my left hand. So it couldn't have been that important. But the internet's working a lot better now. Yeah, that's funny enough. I'm just going to leave it at that. Kira felt that one too. I did it before I even caught myself. That's usually how it happens these days. Just my instant reaction to the internet fucking up was a sort of the straining, not of like a particulate, but more of like a waveform as big as the entire universe. That was sort of the line of logic that was allowing that to happen. And I removed it from the universe. And now nobody will ever even remember that it existed. And as I started to realize what I was doing, and it sort of resisted, my wife fucking looked up from her phone and felt the spirit pressure. Yeah. A glitch that people are taking advantage of in obscene ways, that's making it way too easy for them to hack. And a person are, you know, entirely different things. I couldn't convince myself for a fraction of a second that that would be right. I'm trying to find a more descriptive word, but no, right. That's good enough. The fact of the matter is, just because 30% of Americans support Trump doesn't mean that only 30% of Americans deserve Trump. I mean, I'm sure Kanye and the Kardashians and all the other Klingon races. What? I'm sure they all voted for Hillary. But they might as well have voted for Trump. Yeah. All the people who voted for Bernie and then abstained from the election. Imagine how many people. How big of a landslide it would have been. How much bigger of a landslide it would have been, because she won by 3 million votes. Yeah, I forgot about that. Imagine how much bigger of a landslide it would have been had Russian trolls not persisted antagonizing the grievances, legitimate or unlegitimate, and then nesting them in with, you know, Hillary hates black people because of her super predator comment and shit like that. Like, that got a lot of people to stay home. That right there alone swayed the election. But those people, through sheer unwillingness to admit that they were wrong in general about Hillary, and that the overall vibe that had been portrayed about her did not actually represent her as a person. But because of that, they could not see any of the individual things that they should have seen to be able to understand how the superdelegate process works, for starters, and that Bernie Sanders wasn't a Democrat. He's a utopian socialist moron, okay? And he's been saying, literally, word for word, the same things since 1978. When we about the top 34% outweigh the income of the top 62%. And then in the 80s, it became the top 18% versus the bottom 73%. And then in the 90s, in the early 90s, it was the top 10%. And then in the late 90s, it was the top 5%. And it's so on. And you can see clip after clip of Bernie Sanders saying the same thing with different percentages until the percentages kind of got in his favor. You know, the only really fucking thing that I agree with him on, that everybody agrees with him on, that fucking Hillary Clinton agrees with him on, but is too smart to attempt, single-payer healthcare. Okay? Obama wanted single-payer healthcare. Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton both wanted single-payer healthcare. The problem is, that's not doable until the Cold War actually ends. Joey and Conway and James, I want the three of you to pray for her to focus on physical rejuvenation. She's doing all the reflection she needs to do, for sure. But if she, you know, like, works her way up slowly without taxing her body, over the next 6 months, over the past 6 months. Go ahead and take care of that. Oh, feels like it worked. All she needs to do is seem younger than Trump, if Trump is allowed to run against her. But, yeah, time travel does that. Sorry. I just decided to take y'all with me for a split second. If you're feeling like you should be dizzy, but you aren't. But even if, say, she runs against Mike Pence, all she has to do is seem younger than Trump. You know? Are they gonna? She's too old? Well, she's gonna live longer than Trump would have. And see, like the way I worded that, Democrats need to learn how to word shit like that, don't they? You know, I could have said she's healthier than... You're not moving the pawn forward enough with that shit. You're not given enough room to be pushed back. See? Democrats need to learn how to not be hyperbolic, but to go for the fucking jugular, man. Oh, you can predict the future now? No, it's just obvious. Well, that's not something that's exclusive to Democrats, but that's popular media culture for a reason, because it shuns wisdom. Well, it's made to shun wisdom. That's one of the devices that is used to indirectly cause the shunning of wisdom. Vanity. Everybody's least favorite Smurf. Right? The fucker should have been in jail. In jail. The moment it got found out, that his campaign manager gave information about the campaign to the Russians. That's coordinating a fucking terrorist attack. Huh. So, I mean, we're setting the bar low for future generations here, people, as far as establishing precedent for how the rule of law should be obeyed, for how civilization itself should be fucking maintained. Not only is it like, you know, okay to grab them by the pussy as long as you're rich and powerful. Emoluments, NATO, mocking troops, disrespecting troops, weakening our presence overseas, personal meetings with Kim Jong-un, asking the Russians from the pulpit, from the stump, to hack your political opponent. Coordinating the theft of, I mean, basically the burglary, the break-in of the Democratic server. And now, basically, in logistical terms, here is a metaphor. If the SF, Special Forces, wants to target particular areas, you know, like voter targeting, only targeting. You would have a two-man team on the ground. And no one would ever see them. And they would point some little lasers. Nobody would ever see those either. And then the target never hears a plane. They don't have a few seconds to duck for cover. They're just sitting there playing poker. And suddenly they explode. Yeah, it's a beautiful thing. Well, imagine if it's like a terrorist state, okay? Like North Korea or Iran or something. And an American had that little laser sighter thing and was pointing it on the target that they wanted for him. Said, here you go. Here's your target. And the Iranians sent their little piece of shit planes. Now, say they sent one of the good ones, an F-14, for instance. Oh wait, they're not fielding those anymore. Did you know Iranians had F-14s? Probably didn't know that. Yeah. That's fucking weird, isn't it? Well, you know, we tried. They had them from when they first got made. That was right before the Iranian Guard took over. And they fielded them for a while. Actually, once the Cold War kind of got reignited back in 2008, there was what seemed to me to be an investigation into shit that I'm gonna stop talking about now. Yeah. How about them Saints? Anyways. But the Iranians used to have F-14s. Not something a lot of people know about. And I'm starting to kind of question my memory on whether or not anybody's supposed to know about that. But they had them working for quite some time, and one of the reasons why we stopped making and supporting F-14s before the F-35s were ready was because of that supply chain issue. Anyways. But, you know, decisive action on Obama's part, including the what do you call it? Or how would you describe? The stepped up deployment, whatever, fucking, including moving up the schedule on the deployment of the F-22 Raptors, and sort of reconfiguring the F-35 program during the Obama administration, which is one of the reasons why there are so many people being propagandized to kind of scrap it and say it was over budget and shit. They were trying to separate different models to where they could get a regular working model in the field before the other models were ready, and it worked. But some of them had problems, had to be called back, then the whole thing got a bad rap, and, you know, whatever. When you're talking about a plane that can replace the A6, the F-18, and the Harrier, and the F-16, comparing its budget to any other budget is bullshit. No, there's no plane that can destroy Russia. We would have to build enough planes to cover every highway in the country, okay? Only God can destroy Russia, and that's what's gonna happen if it has to happen. Yeah. They should fear the F-35. But let's just say I like that it's getting all the attention. Because there is no way to improve upon the F-22. I'm talking aeronautically. The only way to make an F-22 more effective in the field is by having an F-35 commanding it. I have, what's really interesting, if you want to check it out, I'm sure the Russians do all the time, the defense branches have different little news reporting agencies, and you could subscribe to their YouTube channels. And like DoD News, for instance, will have interviews with pilots, interviews with test pilots, interviews with recently deployed commanders and shit. They'll be talking about these combined squadrons where you're running like 3 F-22 Raptors and an F-35, and the F-35 is able to use its situational awareness to help the F-22s go like right where they're needed for the most advantage, kind of. Like, it's like having like I think he said it's like having God in your ear telling you what to do. Just in case any of the other viewers aren't aware, I'm pretty sure everybody watching this is aware. The F-35 has a 3D situational awareness model. Okay. So basically, picture the whole plane as also being see-through. Like, they can still see the instruments and shit. Okay, but there's a layer on top of it that actually says in fucking 360 degrees, basically. Like a God's eye view, basically. Electronically. Of the whole theater. And it's got, like, automatic ranging, like, you know, it's basically like you're flying a plane while playing a strategy game. But I mean, fucking high quality. High fucking quality. Very impressive. It's like having an overlaid simulator of the entire environment. Only you know exactly how fast, where everything's going, where everything's gonna be. You got simple drag and click. Never mind. Oh, the things I can learn just by talking to dead people. Anyways. Coffee, please. Shit. Here, have those. Here, take them. Eat one on your way, and Throw it in a trash can. Really? Miss Moody. Throw it in my oldie stuffed trash can. Push it down, way down. Okay. Anyways. Combat theater has never had such a licensed twist to it. Anyways. Oi. Oh, that twitched something. Weird. So, when did the deposed side, that is the Jewish side, of the House of Akkad go to Europe? Did they go separately? Were there different diasporas, as it were? Diaspora. It's a good woody word. Diaspora. Gone. Gone back to Israel. What? Less grounds. It's been overflowing the grounds in there, okay? Just a little less grounds. It's certainly been strong enough. Cyrene. Saya. Cyrene. Saya. What was it again? Following. Light. Cyrene. Through light. Indeed. Renee. Got us to the moon. That would, I suppose, be obscure myth radium. What's up, Jordan? Oh, and I continued on my tangent earlier, and I forgot to say hello to the other person. Hello, other person, if you're still watching. It's going. I don't know how. Need more coffee. I'm at the point where I'm, being really careful. And that was the last sip I can take. Wasn't careful enough. So anyways, I wish I had the laptop running, because today would have been a good day to pull it out, but a lot of back and forth and cleaning and shit going on. Because I'd like to line up the, the lines on the map. Having trouble engineering this without a sketch, All right, brother, take it easy. That sounds fun. It's a fun group activity. They're getting old enough to where I have to cave and start doing have to start doing katas with them on the weekends. All right, brother. Been trying to get them to show more discipline and clean up, but there's a point where you have to use that to accomplish the other, and we're getting to that point. Anyways. So I'm having trouble even stating the simple aspects of the politics. So as far as I know, Samarkand fell in, what was it, the 1300s? And it is now in, I believe, Uzbekistan or Kazakhstan. See, that's why I wish I had the computer. But you're basically talking about an obscure mountain fortress where Athenian women lived. So, very embarrassing to be killed by them. So left alone for longer than you'd think. And really didn't get conquered until it needed to be conquered for the reestablishment of the old temple road into the Silk Road. Ah, that's what it was. It was silk. Yeah, earlier the material. It was like a triangle piece like this. It was like a black, shiny, like a charcoal colored, shiny material that was padded underneath. It was silk. Yeah, spun silk. Old spun silk forms an interesting mixture of roughness and smoothness. I think I've had one shirt like that this whole life. I wonder if I still have it somewhere. Almost has a denim-like feel to it, but it's smoother. Anyways. So, the Parthian invasion being documented. Petey! No. Stop. Stop eating your tank mate. The Parthian invasion being documented by the Romans as having actually been a deployment of the Scythians. Speaks volumes. Because the way the Scythians are described as being like a secret powerhouse, and the way the ancient Greek settlements overlap with their territory, and the way, to my memory, the Parthians from Parthenon Anonymous, yeah, sorry. But little metaphysical metaphor in there. The Parthians had a very Macedonian quality to them. I think the man that I was speaking to had a pewter crown. It was darkened metal. Relatively basic, but a crown nonetheless, you know. Sort of a decorative battle crown, if you will. The other sort of insignia type material was this theme with the darkened charcoal and the chainmail and the metal rim carried over to the soldiers, and they had armor on their shoulders. He had sort of a poof that was black and silver, looked like velvet. And then the merchant workers had a little stripe made of that material that was like just like smaller right at the end of their shoulder pad. How long ago was that? I mean, that was 700 BC or something like that. Anyways, it looks like the broadcast isn't working very well. There are 0 people watching. No. I'm trying to focus, Joey. It says 0 people watching right now, which is fascinating. Oh, I'm just deep in thought, so I'm reflecting more light than usual. You might be able to find some biologists willing to admit that a certain percentage of the human population possesses the right chemicals for bioluminescence. I just wish I possessed the right... Still there? I don't think Smurfette can see her tail. Like, she must not know how much of it's fucking missing. Like, jeez. It's just painful to look at. Yep, still says 0 people watching. And, you know, it doesn't matter that it's saying that to me, but everybody knows that as far as being watchable or clickable, 1 person watching is better than no people watching. I could have 3 people fucking watching and nobody would fucking know. Because 0 plus 0 plus 0 is 3. Yeah. Anyways. I think there's at this point where you had the separation of the Asian and the Assyrian. The Assyrian being more of the remnants of the old Proto-Persian that were given refuge in the House of Elam. Ooh. I gotta go. I gotta go see what the fuck that was.